Hey guys, how's it going? Hope everything is going well. Today I'm going to be going solo, but let me just come back right in a minute. Okay. Alrighty. Sorry about that. All right, let's take a look at some of the comments over here. Card Mover says, Mr. AIH, what's going on? One time, let the games begin. Yes. C&T Collectibles says, good evening. Yep. Okay, guys. So today, yeah, I'm not gonna have a guest. I was planning on bringing on one of my buddies, but he couldn't make it, or maybe he'll come on later on. But anyways, what do you guys want to talk about today? I mean, the past few months has been flat out crazy if you think about it. If you just look at all of this hanky panky going on, right? I don't remember if you look at what happened about what in 2020, 2021. I didn't see all of that going on. I didn't see all of that fraud going on to the extent that we see happening. And I believe that part of the reason why we have this going on is if you look at number one, um, the easy money that was coming into the system, everyone was making money left and right, and it was a good time. We were making money. I remember buying cards for 500 bucks, a Phelps card that I talked with Infinite Investment Game, and I was able to number one take that $500 and sell it for 1,500 bucks within a few months. That's how crazy the market was, and I think a lot of people were taking that easy flip, easy money, and now they cannot replicate that. So that's just one thing to note. No cap, you're one of the top guys in the hobby. I think Sports Card Radio has one of the best channels out there. So I think it would go to them, to be honest, because they're the one exposing all this hanky panky, right? Someone told me that they're the chief inspector generals of the hanky panky. I really like Ziggy's channel. I think that Ziggy, first of all, could have a larger channel, but the thing with Ziggy is I think he needs to shorten his videos. And if he just does that or puts clips on Instagrams, his channel could explode. I saw like 30 likes for Ziggy's video today, and it has only 200 views. It should have way more. And his topics are really interesting, thought provoking. I don't necessarily agree with him on that. Okay. Ryan McClanahan, I could use a beer and some card talk economics. Look into Beckett employee Valentino. I don't want to butcher his last name. Capo Bianco. So yeah, I mean, some economics talk. We should definitely have you on maybe in the next month or two, and we could talk about the Federal Reserve. My favorite topic. We had Chad last week. He's in the chat right now, and we're talking about the Federal Reserve, the hanky panky, right? And speaking of Chad, he's right here in the comment section. Card shenanigans just keep happening. Do people care enough to stop this from happening, or are we content to keep our heads buried? That's a good question. I mean, they probably happened 2020, 2021, but everyone was making money left and right. Everyone was happy and they didn't care. And now we're at a point, okay, card values for the most part have gone down. Now, there was, in my opinion, a couple weeks ago for the scarce cards out there that have taken a huge dip when the stock market also was crashing, crypto was crashing. There were some good opportunities there. So, yep. Fast Eddie, just a pinch of hanky and a dash of panky. No doubt about it. Steve, what's going on, man? What's going on? And we'll definitely have you on in the next few months as well. Inglorious P, to be honest, I'm burnt out from flipping cards. I think a lot of people are burnt out. I mean, you see the comment sections everywhere. People are just burnt out from this, and I think this is a good time to build sets right now with prices that have come down. Now, it's not at the level of 2019, maybe for some cards. So it is a good opportunity that way, in my opinion. But yeah, I think a lot of flippers have been burnt out, and that's why they are not. That's why they've exited, or they just do Instagram commentary. Kevin Jones, I'm having a blast collecting right now. Yeah, I'm building a set right now. I'm not going to disclose what it is because someone's going to be like, hey, you're pumping this, because I'm just going to be showing a bunch of those cards. But I'm keeping it on the down low. And once I complete that set, it may take years, to be honest, to complete that. But yeah, I want to buy those raw and then eventually grade them. But the problem is grading is so expensive right now, unless there's a good arbitrage with that. What you're paying $50, correct me if I'm wrong, $50 on PSA. I think the price is going to go down. There have been promos, and Nat Turner said that, hey, the prices are going to come down for grading. But right now I'm just looking at slabs on eBay, and I'm just taking that and going from there. All right, I'll just be right back. I just need to get some water. All right, let's look at some more comments here. Card movers. I'm slowly collecting just set building for the most part from Panini Instant 2018. Okay, yeah, you do what you want to do. Once again, collecting is a good opportunity right now. All the shiny cards and stuff are so overpriced, in my opinion. Yes, a lot of the graded cards have come down significantly. I'm seeing some. I saw this one Kobe Bryant card. I don't remember what it is. It was what, over $100,000 card, and now it's what, $26,000. So that's crazy how it's gone down. And once again, it's, in my opinion, a better buying time than it was in February and March, but you could still potentially see some cards going down, in my opinion. Ryan McClanahan, I'm all about the history of the Federal Reserve's impact on the cards of the 1910s through the 1930s. Okay. Yeah, I think that would be quite interesting. Yeah, Steve says, I would love to do it again, my brother. So, and yeah, Steve's, that was fun podcast that we did. All right. And then Francisco says, AIH Carlos, because I'm a virgin, said, you're just a pimple on the hobby's ass. He said, negative people like yourself are bringing down the hobby. Did he really say that? Send that comment, send that link to me and show where he said that. But ultimately, everyone has their own opinion on this. And what I'd like to say is, why does he care what I have to say? Right? So negative people are driving down the hobby. Everyone has their own opinion, right? Isn't this guy about laissez-faire? But when it comes to opinion, you can't have your own opinion. You don't want the free market of ideas. I mean, that sounds like a pinko commie thing to say, in my opinion, if he did say that. And whoever says that, and I have to do a video on what's that thing? Chris, right? Chris from Card Ladder. I have to get into that because I think that guy is as snobby as Carlos is. All right. Kamikaze Sports Card Hybrid. Let's hear some hanky panky. Yeah, there's been so much lately, right? I'm just reporting on what's going on. So you had all these group breakers doing all the shady things. And allegedly, I'm just going based on the Sports Card Radio video today. There was a Tom Brady card. It seemed to be resubmitted, potentially some altering of that card, right? So you resend it to PSA, and then you have it on Golden, right? This is what I'm talking about, right? The conflict of interest. So you have what, in my opinion, a monopoly of collector's universe, where you have Nat Turner running the show with his hedge fund buddy, what's his name, Steve Cohen, right? And you're taking that, and you have a grading ability with them, and then you could send it off to Golden, right? So yeah, there's definitely a conflict of interest, in my opinion. And then you have Card Ladder says, oh yeah, record sale, this and that. And then he's bashing content creators, right? With different opinions. You have to remember, a lot of these guys are free market guys, but then they are bashing the free market of ideas. Just remember that, okay? So you're all about what? Austrian school, this and that. You're about, free markets, this and that, but you want to call out content creators? I'm all for the marketplace of ideas, like Clay Travis talks about. And if you have a differing in opinion, you should be canceled. I think that is just outrageous, in my opinion. Guys in their 40s should be holding vintage for when they retire 20 years from now. Stuff from their era, of course. Thoughts on this? So it depends on when you bought the vintage, right? So I was getting comment section, oh, vintage prices are, they aren't volatile, so it's a good investment. That's the argument that I get. Well, they have slowly but steadily gone up year after year after year. And now we saw that huge correction from what, February of 2021 to maybe June. So anything, in my opinion, that has come down significantly and people are just dabbling in, I'm not telling you to go buy it. I'm just thinking out loud. I think cards like the Mantles, the Mays, the Gretzkys, even though Gretzky is younger than these guys, and Mantles obviously passed away. Hank Aaron, who's passed away, I would be looking at that and looking at that. I think the next 10 years should be decent for sports cards. Yeah, we're probably going to see a correction in it may not go crazy like it did from 2020 and 2021, but as long as the boomers are alive, I believe that sports cards should still hold value, depending on what card you have, not like the junk slabs. All right. Darren asks, do you think vintage breaks swap the pack? Based on the videos that I saw, it looks like some hanky panky went down. All right. And that's what I'll say about that. Steve Splenda, let's talk about the women of the hobby and how they don't pay for WNBA tickets. Oh boy, Steve. But yeah, speaking of women in the hobby, I think this would be an interesting topic to discuss. And I believe that there's two groups of people that get a free pass. And obviously, I'm not saying that all women in this statement. I'm just saying that if you are a lady and you do the hanky panky, then you get some issues. All right. And I think we have my buddy, Don. He actually came on. Hey, Don, what's going on, man?
Well, I was just having dinner with my oldest son and trying to explain to him how proud I am of him for what for his accomplishments. But also, I think that he could focus a little bit more.
Okay.
And of course, I ended up sounding like a grumpy old man in the process.
Okay. Well, glad you could make it on this Sunday night live stream. So I know you don't follow the hobby. I mean, you're still buying cards. I understand that, but you don't follow the news as much as, some of my audiences and I am. So, Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, the LSU quarterback that quit. This guy's probably going to start, and it's a 3 out of 10 autograph, and I got it for like $10. So
Okay, cool. Nice pickup. So, I was talking to you like maybe a few weeks ago, the national, the YouTube video about the BBCE
mhm.
situation. So, what are your thoughts about that? If you'd like to comment on that.
Yeah, my thoughts are I can't believe anybody like that. That should be immediately when his entire customer base dried up and went away forever. I can't even fathom how someone like that can still have a customer base at all. Um, the to when the words come out of your mouth that you're replacing packs and that some of these have been tainted, or what was the word he said? It might have been tainted. I don't know. But then you package that as a box that you have certified as an original box. That seems like, in my opinion, pretty close to something that in the real world we might call fraud. So I don't know why anyone would trust that person. But here's a shocker. The people that are grading your cards are probably most of them just guys like that who for a long time had no oversight because the internet wasn't what it is today. And they've been around for a long time. And people have just assumed, well, he grades cards, so he must be a good card grader. Well, that's circular logic. So when you see these chinks in their armor, it really would make me wonder, where are the roaches? I'll put it this way: when you find a roach in your kitchen on the floor, there's 100 more in the pantry. So if this is a mistake that was caught only because of the amount of money on the line, let's be honest, if he's that sloppy on something that expensive, what is he? What kind of garbage service do you get with his other grading? So I think it's an embarrassment for the hobby.
So, I'm trying to think, outside the box. And some guy messaged me who's high up in the hobby. He said that potentially that box may have been swapped out right before they opened the national. That's the other thing that I'm thinking of.
But he admitted. Wait, that can't be it. He actually said on camera that he knew and had switched packs out.
So
So,
yeah, so he defeats the argument when he removes packs. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, that makes
well, it's
sense.
not what I'm saying; it's what he said.
Yeah, exactly. And did you know that this dude authenticates, or he's in the process? I mean, he works with PSA in authenticating packs.
Well, yeah. I mean, isn't that what we're talking about?
Yeah. In general, I'm just saying that it's just quite interesting that I didn't hear a response from PSA because they're in basically business.
You're talking about, okay. You're saying
Like
that
PSA authenticated
okay, right,
slabs because
right.
you don't have like a chrome pack of the Bowman Chrome of 2000 Tom Brady.
Well, so how long has he been doing that for him? Because if he's been doing it for him long enough, it would tarnish PSA's reputation to cut ties with him in a public way, I would think, because that would be them admitting that some guy that they don't trust has been authenticating packs, and you can only imagine the customers that might have an interest in that.
Yeah, exactly. And I find it quite interesting that the hobby, the higher ups really have been quiet about it. You see a statement from few people, but otherwise it's just, shush, hush, hush, don't say anything.
Well, you're not quiet about it.
I'm not quiet, but I'm part of the outside, right? I'm just, a guy on YouTube. I'm
Well,
saying so.
yeah, but that other guy you showed me that recorded that video, he seems to have quite a presence, and he's really stirring the pot. I mean, that guy was not pulling any punches.
Yeah, Sports Card Radio, they're pretty good with their investigative journalism that I would call it. And, they've highlighted me in some of their videos. They have a lot of dirt on people in the hobby. So now let's take a look at some comments and then we'll go from there. All right. The original Don Dada stating, yes, I will rock my alien shirt. All right. Don's dropping bars. All right. Let's take a look.
By the way, that must be one of the fans of my mid '80s rap project, the Don Harold rap band.
Oh, okay. Francisco, I have certified this box for a hefty fee, but I give no guarantees or refunds. Now move along. Next.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's so, and you and I talked about something that I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about here on your channel.
Yeah.
But you've likened Sports Card Guy to Bitcoiner and Silver Stacker. And it is amazing the level of nonsense people will accept when the thing that they love so much is on the line. You know, there's a lot of, these silver gurus that were just outright con men. And you just knew they were con men if you were just even remotely half thinking. And when it comes to sports cards, I've seen a lot of these channels that are obviously not people who are into sports cards. And like some of these women, women, because it's 2022. I don't know what a woman is anymore. But some of these people who identify as women have they talk about sports cards in the same way that they would talk about the Home Shopping Network or something. Obviously, no real connection to the sport. Obviously, only pandering to their audience. Obviously, only talking about certain players for clicks. And I just would be embarrassed if I was part of that scene. I don't know. It seems kind of lightweight to me.
I mean, I've noticed that it doesn't matter how good looking or not a lady is in the hobby. She already gets so many views just for being a woman in the hobby. And then now, allegedly, I have to be careful what I'm saying because I'm getting more views now. Allegedly, there's this one Pokemon influencer. I know it's a little different than sports cards.
Did you just use the word Pokemon with the word influencer? Did you just really put those two words together?
Yeah, there's Pokemon influencers, and some are just some of the content I see on IG. I'm like, okay.
Wait, stop. Wait a second. Are you telling me that there are people in this hobby who are influencing people somehow?
And they're like some of them tend to be really good looking women. Some of them obviously don't wear that much in their Instagram reels, and I could show you. I'll send you screenshots, and I'm just telling you this: like the whole, a lot of people stayed silent, and they're promoted. And one of them allegedly was shill bidding on one of these major auctions, and it was hush, 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 right?
Yeah.
So I'm just finding like, what? This is crazy. And, she went out and accused them of being incels of whoever, was questioning her. So if you question it, you're an incel, right?
By the way, I'll question her, and I don't care if she calls me an incel or an outsell. It doesn't matter to me. I'm a fairly confident in my masculinity man who those words would mean nothing to me. Now, of course,
I could care less. I mean, I think, used the phrase on an Instagram post like gatekeeping, incest racist or something like that. Or I'm like, what? You're in the.
Hey, listen, hold on. I want to ask you about these auctions and shilling. Can I get back to that for a second?
Yeah.
You've sent me a lot of links on Facebook, and you sent me some screenshots that are shocking. If people read the fine print in these auctions, inside the auctions, the fine print, it actually says we may bid on our own auctions.
Yeah, let me read it. I have it here. It's Heritage Auctions. I just downloaded it again just to make sure they didn't change it. Line 21. The auctioneer, its affiliates, or their employees consign items to be sold in the auction and may bid on those lots or any other lot.
How is that even a thing? How is that even a thing that people accept? I mean, all they have to do, and of course in the stock market world, it's called painting the tape. All they got to do is just come in and 1 penny higher and keep dragging it up. And people fall for this nonsense. It's crazy.
Yeah.
By the way, is Zion still #1?
I have no idea. I got to tell you, speaking of Zion, so I was looking on Fanatics website. They took it off. So they had these PSA 9 cards selling on Fanatics 10x what they sold for what they did on eBay. After that video I did, they removed the Zion cards. They have some cards right now that are still ridiculously overpriced. Like a Chris Bosh card, I believe is what, 6x more than what they sell on Fanatics. They're the ones that are going to be taking over the licenses, right?
Yeah.
They're the ones, they're going to be taking some of these influencers that I'm going after.
Will you stop using that word influencer?
What do you want me to call them? Pumpers?
I don't know, man. I mean, but what does that even mean?
They influence you to make a decision to buy up these cards.
By the way, you're looking really good, man. You look great. You look nice and healthy.
Oh.
You look good, dude. I mean,
okay.
And because I'm secure in my masculinity, I can say that.
Okay, you could say that. Okay. All good. But yeah, so let's take a look at some of these. Oh yeah, so what's up with these auctions? So, you know, we had record sales 2020, 2021. Do you think that some of these auction houses employees may have artificially bid it up and they weren't paid? I don't want to say that, okay, auction house X, there was definitely non-payment and there's employees bidding it up. I don't want to make that accusation against any.
But you're not even actually asking that question. You're not really asking that because you know the truth. I mean, why would the wording be in there? Why would they put that wording in there if they're not doing it?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, and the industry, I saw some people, I was talking about it earlier, they were going after content creators, probably indirectly like me, for exposing this stuff. This is out in the open, and I'm the bad guy? I mean, I wish you were on YouTube. You would just totally light them up.
I don't know. I mean, I have to admit that I think there's, I mean, with all due respect to what you're doing, I don't know that I would be interested in Pokemon and sports cards and all that to the extent that I'd be lighting up these people. I don't know. I think here's the deal. You have said it best in private when we've talked. It is no different than Silver Stacker or Bitcoiner. It's exactly the same thing. It's just a matter of when the wall gets hit. And I will say, sports cards might have more longevity than I once would have suspected because it is tied to a constant revolving door of personality cult. So you've always got new guys coming through college, you know, new guys coming up, you know, through high school, and new pro players, new teams, new helmets, new jerseys. So maybe sports cards people will just throw money at, and maybe the market might have kind of an artificial bottom because of that. I don't know.
Could be. Who knows? Yeah. So I wanted to look at, first of all, you know, we looked at the gold and silver hobby, and we're looking at sports cards. So in terms of scamming, who do you think was worse? Do you think it was I know we talked about it, but I think you should let us know what you think. Who were worse? Was it gold and silver guys, or were it the sports cards guys?
Well, I think probably when you say worse, gold and silver guys, like, am I allowed to name names on your channel? Or
you could say whatever you want. I mean,
okay, well, Mike Maloney. So go back and watch Mike Maloney's video from, I think, 2009 or so on the one where he said that gold in a deflationary spiral would still be worth like 25 or 50,000 an ounce, and that we were going to see gold not valued in thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands, not even millions or billions, but quadrillions of US dollars. This sort of what's the word I would use for this?
You used to use carnival barkers back in the day.
This carnival barkering, whatever you call it, he could not, in my opinion, have actually believed. Maybe he did. I would find it dubious that if you believed, and this is my point about gold and silver, if you believed that gold and silver were the most rare, and if you thought something was going to go to quadrillions of dollars per ounce, you would not sell a single ounce. In fact, you put a sign out from your building that said, I'm only buying at whatever spot price is plus $4 or $5 an ounce. So you have to suspect they didn't really believe that rhetoric. So to me, those sorts of guys and that sort of the people in that industry, I think probably either didn't really believe what they were saying or just plain dumb. And in either case, I don't know that you find that with sports cards. Everyone knows, and with sports cards, with rare exception, we all know with sports cards we're talking about dudes with jerseys and a ball in their hand. Now, yes, some prices have gotten crazy on some blue chip stuff. I get all of that. But at the end of the day, at least they can fall back on the idea that this is just cardboard with pictures of baseball and football players on it. You can't make that case with gold and silver when that is sold as something that's been around for 5,000 years and has always been money until 5 minutes ago. So I think that's the long answer to your question. I think that sports card carnival barkers have always been sports card carnival barkers, and tongue-in-cheek, you always knew was kind of a goof. Gold and silver, man, those people will tell you that's going to replace the U.S. dollar. I don't know how many people are thinking that the Aaron Rodgers rookie is going to replace the Federal Reserve note.
Maybe a Fleer 80, or maybe the 1984 star card, right? That's going to be backed by the U.S. dollar.
Okay, but you get my point.
I get what your point. Yeah.
Also, there's another factor here, which you may know more than I know on this. So I'm going to defer to your information here. The other problem with gold and silver is that bankers had their fingers in every transaction, all the way from the mine to the guy sitting in his house stacking up silver, collecting dust his wife can't believe he spends money on. That's gold and silver. With sports cards, I don't know that you have the tacit involvement of the bankers. So again, I think there are just some differences. The carnival barkers and sports cards, go look up Don West. I'm old enough to watch Don West in his prime selling boxes of like 1991 Pacific football for $150 a box. So if the carnival barkers and sports cards have always been here. Gold and silver, shame on them for what they did. Shame on them. They had to know better. If they didn't, they're idiots.
Yeah. I'm just thinking how many people in sports cards. I mean, you did that video with me in February of last year, or March, or whenever it was. And you basically were warning people, hey, this is probably not the time to be piling in. While a lot of people, I was shocked. Maybe this was their first rodeo. They haven't seen a bubble or whatever, or that they've been a part of. And they were like really excited. They thought, some of these cards would still continue to double, triple, etc. And then you told me, like, if I had a way to short cards, I would short them. I remember that statement from you.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
What I was going to say about that is it's just the darndest thing. I actually got emails and messages from people saying that I was, some old codger from the 1970s or 80s, and I didn't understand the new market. I did not understand it was a whole new world of e-commerce and eBay. It's a worldwide global phenomenon. I just want people to understand something about being an old codger. I've been through more bubbles than just the last one or two or three. I mean, I've been watching bubbles since I was in high school. So, and that was a long time ago. So when you looked at the sports card thing last year, if it did not have the hallmarks of a bubble, you're just a moron. That there's no other way to explain it. And listen, go back and look at the videos of the people pushing some of those cards. It's the same exact rhetoric at the top of every bubble. Now, let me make a point also about another bubble we just went through recently. You're not hearing a lot about the NFTs. Man, I mean, you're not hearing a lot about people buying pictures of monkeys for $500,000 or more. You're not hearing a lot of that. That's because a lot of people got bent over in the same way. In fact, there's a lot of people who got bent over giving $500,000 for pictures of monkeys in the same way that a lot of people today are getting bent over and passing monkeypox around. It's an absolute travesty that people back in 2018, 19, and 20 got literally hornswoggled on those NFTs. So guess what? If you can't see those things as being bubbles, you're blind or dumb. In either case, you shouldn't be spending your money. Or actually, in this case, the money you have saved up in a piggy bank under your bed in your mom's basement because of all the stimulus checks you got.
So here's what I find quite interesting. Just looking at right now, and you told me this maybe 5-6 months ago. You said that, okay, when the inflationary bubble pops, so meaning that inflation turns into maybe a short-term deflationary cycle, what's going to happen with these sports cards? Sports cards have gone down in the probably the worst inflation in my lifetime. You probably were around in the 70s, but I'm just thinking, okay.
Hold on. I was around in the 70s, but I was not economically viable in the 70s. So
Okay. But still, you were alive. I wasn't. Okay. So we had, like 1980, 82, right? I wasn't around. So you had inflation turned to deflation. Okay. Other parts of history too, after World War II, inflation and the inflation eventually went away until maybe the Korean War, then it picked back up, I believe. But there are times when you have inflation and that inflation goes away, probably maybe the market tanks or whatever, and then everything goes down in value. People get laid off, right? So if you have that situation, then what's going to happen to sports cards in a deflationary environment?
okay,
I'm just thinking about this and I'm thinking, wait, have we seen the bottom? Maybe you have a short-term bounce in cards, but what happens in a deflationary environment? And it may not last that long, but I think that may be the time to buy. But what are your thoughts?
well, that's a good question because I have been through some inflation and deflationary cycles in my very long life. And I can tell you that there's a lot of grown men out there who, when they've stacked up all the cards they've stacked up, aren't able to unload them. I don't think that you're going to see a lot of people who are financially hurt necessarily. And what I mean by that is there have not been people, in my opinion, spending anything more than free money on sports cards. The $3 trillion that the Fed printed, or $6 trillion, or whatever it is, that money sloshing around gave people a lot of extra money to spend. And so I don't think a lot of people have had to mortgage homes or anything like that to buy sports cards. But the glut of cards that we saw in the 1990s, whatever you bought from about 2018 until this year, 5 or 10 or 15, 20 years out, they're not going to have the same value. And so there's just a lot of guys who are going to be stuck with, like, I've got monster boxes of, let me prove a point to you. I know current day card collector will tell me I'm wrong about this because it's totally different. It's totally different this time. But I've got Emmitt Smith rookies. How many do you want? Which Emmitt Smith rookie do you want 100 of right now? And these are all cards that back in the day were selling at ridiculous prices especially based on inflation. But those sat around and they're going to continue to sit around. And a problem that the sports card market also has for guys who are holding on to this stuff as long-term investments is, I want to ask you a question, Rahul. Can you name for me 10 blue chip, can't fail long-term sports cards investment? I'm being honest. Can you name 10 guys that are money? I mean,
it depends when you buy them, though. That's the thing. Like
that's right. Listen to what you just said. Wait. That's right. It depends on when you buy them. So Joe Montana rookies are not selling inflation adjusted for what they were selling for 20 years ago. Now, why is that? Well, there's a guy named Tom Brady who came along. And that's the one thing that with sports you've always got. You've got, to your point, inflation and deflation, and then you've got the flavor of the month. Now, if you've got the flavor of the month is no longer the player that you thought was going to be some hot investment for the long term, and you get a depreciation in the market in general, you're screwed. You'll be sitting on things that you can't sell. So what's coming for a lot of guys is a realization that all of the hokum that they've been smoking is literally just that, going to be pure smoke, and they'll have nothing. Listen. Let me be clear. There are some cards people are buying that are going to turn into literally zero buyers, zero, none. So inflation plus flavor of the month means some guys are going to end up walking away with nothing.
Yeah. Let me read this comment. Speaking of Tom Brady, it's by Jeffrey Hart. I know you talk about Marvel, but what about the Tom Brady refractor rookie card on PWCC that sold for $192,000? I think it was earlier this year, and then $60,000 less. I think it's $60,000 right now, the latest sale, and it's Tom Brady and not Zion. Hanky Panky going on. So like this is crazy how it went.
Dude, so can I go in another kind of a weird direction here? I want to talk about something else for just a moment, and I'll dovetail with what we're saying here.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. If you want to see crazy prices, and I'm even talking about before Grandpa Joe got a hold of the economy, if you want crazy prices, look at the price 1 week on, let's say, almond milk at the grocery store. So let's say almond milk 1 week is $3.79 for a half gallon. And the next week, it's $4.79 a gallon or a half gallon. That is crazy price appreciation week over week. So in everything that you buy, everything is basically a commodity, and prices wide disparate prices on what we'll call the bid and the ask. When it comes to sports cards, that means some dummy paid $192,000 for something, and it's an illiquid market, and that's what you get with an illiquid market. Then you don't have to have hanky panky. It's called dummies buying at the top. So I don't know if 60,000 is the bottom, but some dummy bought at the top. And by definition, you know they're dummy because it's at 60K right now. And you call it hanky panky, call whatever you want to. Somebody got screwed. And hang on 1 second.
Yeah, so just going to that, you have to remember that the Federal Reserve jacked up interest rates like crazy. So that I think has partly to do with prices just tanking for that. But you hear what I said?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think interest rates have been jacked up like crazy. What are they at right now?
Crazy, but you have to remember we're coming out of a pandemic, right? They juiced up.
Well, hold on a second. Wait. You just said we're coming out of a pandemic. I think you need to put air quotes around that use of the word pandemic.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Maybe you're coming out of a pandemic. I don't think everyone's coming out of a pandemic.
Okay. Fair enough.
That's probably for your other channel, though.
Yeah, probably. All right, let's take a look at some of the other comments. And so one guy says one time you could list on Heritage and Golden and also bid on it. He's asking a question. Am I hearing this correct? Yeah, I have to go through the language on Golden. I believe the people who work at Collectors Universe can bid on items, but they can't know the reservers. You have to look at the language of it. So I don't think everyone can, but it's just some provisions attached to it.
Look, you showed me Golden auctions, and you showed me Heritage auctions, and you showed me another one.
I think it may have been Leland's. That was another one, and then there's I think one or two others. One other auction, I forget. I think it's out of London. I forget what it's called. But yeah,
but I just can't believe that people. I mean, dude, you know what? Here's the problem. We're in the wrong business. We know the language of the con artist. Now, what we need to do is I need to get a really interesting mustache, fake mustache, and a toupee and a hat, and wear a monocle, and come out here and start selling some snake oil on some sport. You know what we need to do? We need to create some sports cards with some drawings. Like, I'll draw pictures of animals, and you can draw pictures of you draw birds, I'll draw dogs. We'll just go to Fiverr and just get a bunch of people in basements around the world to draw something for 50 cents and make those cards. And You know, find by the way, find one of these, dude, find one of these brand new grading companies that's just some guy. Do you realize how many grading companies there are now? Hold on. Do you there are guys out there who are starting grading companies literally just in their bedroom. So we need to hook up with one of these companies. No, we need to we need to make NFTs of dogs and hippos and different and birds and stuff, and have like a dual set cards and NFTs, and somehow and then have them graded with the grading company that we own, and then auction them off on the auction site that we own.
And also make sure to copy that from an author, and just make sure you have the own copyright. I think that's a fantastic idea.
You know, Rahul,
so then you can't get sued.
Can I tell you something?
A great idea.
Can I give you a funny idea? This is not a joke. I'm being so serious about this.
Yeah.
Anyone watching me right now, go to Google and search public domain images. And there's millions of images out there that are public domain. I wonder, could you create a card set and actually somehow sell those things with like limited edition cards of public domain images? Just totally anyone can use them. Could you make money with that? I think with this current crop of sports collecting knuckleheads, there's probably someone who would buy that stuff.
Yeah, if you have an influencer pumping this up, a well-known
dude, that is awesome. We get a Pokemon influencer or a Furby. Are there Furbies? Is Furby still a thing? We can get a Furbies influencer or a Cabbage Patch doll influencer and come up with some public domain images from the 1950s or something and make a mint.
I mean, I think you're giving Fanatics some ideas now.
That's great.
So apparently some people from Fanatics watch my videos.
Wow.
It's come to my attention. Yeah.
That was maybe one of the funniest things I've ever heard you say. Giving Fanatics an idea.
Oh, yeah. I got to tell you this. So I was doing some digging. So Fanatics has their own auction site. And on it, I saw some cards. I couldn't believe it. So there's this one 1991 Michael Jordan card in a White Sox uniform. So I think the PSA 10 on eBay goes for about, what, $450 last time I saw.
By the way, that card, that card is it from Collector's Choice?
I forget.
Well, there's Collector's Choice and there's Upper Deck Minor League. I actually had boxes of that, not this important, when they came out. And those were like $20, $30 a piece back in the day. I don't know what they're going for now, but
yeah, PSA 10 as of right now on eBay is $430. So on Fanatics, I was shocked when I saw that same card. It sold for double the amount. I don't know who the hell is paying for it. Is that a real sale? Is that pumped up, or is that people have fan cash like $8 on Fanatics? I don't know.
Have you ever seen Don West?
I saw clips of Don West.
Man, you got to go back and look at Don West from the 90s. And I swear to you, I am not making this up. I would call in live on their show when they were selling boxes of whatever it was at like quadruple retail. I would call in and tell them, listen, if you're buying this stuff, I've got literally cases I bought at Sam's and they would just hang up on me because that was back in the day. So you could call and they didn't see what what your phone number was. So as soon as I'd get on the air, I'd say something like, yeah, listen, I got a box of that for, half of what you're selling them for, and you get them at Costco. I guess what I'm saying is that the people paying these prices, you have to feel sorry for them in a way, right? Like if someone's paying those prices, they're getting fleeced. We're just in the wrong business. That's it. We're just in the wrong thing.
You know how much money we can make just by like conning people in this hobby? It's ridiculous. But, instead, the industry will ignore me if my channel gets bigger and other channels out there. So it's just quite funny. Like Fanatics is going to spend a lot on marketing, and they're going to go after the guys who just are like pro hobby, always positive, can't think for themselves, and bash negativity or
Hey,
critical
you know
thinking.
what? Please forgive me for segueing to something else just for a moment.
Yeah.
Forgive me. Do you know the worst videos you will ever see on YouTube? The worst videos? The worst are when you look up, like, take any artist you like, any musical act you like, and type in reaction. You know, that people make these reaction videos that are just pandering to their audience. So you'll see someone who's obviously not a Megadeth fan, who's just jamming to Megadeth and explaining how awesome Megadeth is, and you go, it looks to me like you mostly what you listen to is like Rastafarian music or something. There's no way you're a Megadeth fan. And they're always a different skin tone than you would ever expect would be listening to 1980s heavy metal circa 2022. And the pandering these people do on either side of the aisle, it's always the same. They love it. They can't get enough of it. Boy, they wish they'd heard about this, 20, 30 years ago. And they're so thankful to their audience for recommending that they watch the new, some Queensryche video, a band you've probably never even heard of, from 1981. And they're like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for this tip on Pantera. That breakdown session in the middle is the heaviest thing I've ever heard. And what you realize is it's literally just pandering. So with these sports card videos like you're talking about, it's exactly the same thing. I can't watch these people. It's just nauseating. It's just cheering and rah-rah and all that. And you have to know. Like, have you ever seen that movie, Full Metal Jacket?
I think when I was younger.
Okay. Well, there's a scene in Full Metal Jacket that I'll have to make PG for your audience. There's a scene in Full Metal Jacket when the drill instructor says to the guy who's calling Private Pile, Private Pile, I can't even say this. He says, Private Pile, if you're going to do that thing to me that you're doing, at least do this other thing to me so I'll have a good time myself. So with these sports cards influencers, I would just say, or whatever you call them, they need to start throwing a bone. And if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. Throw a bone to their subscribers because they're just fleecing people.
Yeah. So, do you think that these guys? I think we talked about this, like going back to gold and silver. Maybe we could tie it back to sports cards. So, I noticed that people, they look at some of these higher IQ guys, and we were talking about this one dude that we used to know back in the day, and you're telling me, you've gone in his live streams under a fake name, and you were basically calling him out. And the way that he talks, he sounds very convincing to the average Joe trying to learn about the markets, equities, options, futures, etc. And I've noticed a similar aspect here. Someone is definitely high IQ, and then they speak with confidence and they're using sophisticated language. And then the average Joe may not know what they're talking about. And then they're like, people fall for it. And I'm like, no. I'm not as smart as you, but I could figure out you're full of crap,
Boy,
So,
yeah, go ahead.
No. I'm just thinking, like, I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, you're making a great point. That really is an amazing point. When the language these people use, they seem to be so self-referentially important to themselves. I don't know if I self-referential. Well, anyway, the point is they seem to talk as if they're using language that everyone just uses talking about these subjects. And clearly, I mean, you know what I'm talking about, right? This is how experts talk. And to the uninitiated, it sounds like they know what they're talking about, and they really are talking out their ass. And nobody talks like that. The guy you and I are talking about, if you go back and watch any of his videos, there's no way. I've never had conversations in the investing world with any of those words or any of those phrases, but to the uninitiated, it sounds like you heard something. And in fact, you really didn't. And by the way, I'm sorry I have to say this. This is going to get me in trouble. I don't even know. I don't care. But if you're watching a channel on YouTube by some dude who calls what you're doing sports card investing, you need to have your head examined. There's no sports card. It is literally the height of gambling. All that's got to happen is one of these dudes you're throwing your money at break a leg or break someone else's leg or break something else in the process of doing something you shouldn't do with 27 women, and you're going to find your investment going right down the drain. That's not an investment vehicle. So if someone says to you that they are sports card investors and that's what their channel is like, they're not. Let me put it to you like this. It's like when a politician says, and this is the greatest, a politician will say, I trust the American people. I know my opponent thinks the American people are stupid, but I know the American people are really much smarter than that. If you hear a politician say that to you, then you know only one thing is true. They think that you're dumb enough to believe that you're the person they're talking about. The same goes with sports cards. Anyone who's convinced you that they're a sports card investing guru well, they're not an investing guru, but you're a rube if you follow their advice. Yeah. I'm sorry I had to say that. Hope I didn't ruffle any feathers.
All right. So I'm going to read this comment, and I'm going to tie it into what you're just saying about these high IQ guys. So Francisco says, I hate the card ladder guys. How come they never talk about what card prices were from 2002 to 2017? Talk about reality punks. So I'm going to talk about this card ladder dude. In one of his videos, he referenced the Austrian business school. You know what that is, right? Boom.
Stop.
He said that, and he was not mentioning it during the bubble last year.
That did not happen. That
he mentioned something. He had a video. He was yeah, I'm serious. No. He had a video.
Look, here, this is my Austrian business. It's my GMA Dale Murphy 10. Okay, this is my Austrian. You are not serious. That did not happen.
Reese's, right? Hayak.
It did not happen. Hold on.
I have to send you the video. I was so freaking mad. He didn't say anything about the Austrian school last year in February 2021. I was talking about in my videos, by the way. So people can't come back to me, that stuff. I was talking about Hayak, by the way. So all I'm saying is that he referenced it, and I was just like, wait, why didn't you mention anything about it? Unless he doesn't believe in it. Maybe then I have to take it back. But I think he does. So the thing is, when I see stuff like that, and then this dude, he pivots. He has a card ladder. So I don't know what you know about it. But basically, you could track the prices. It does look nice. But the thing is, they were touting it as the sports card, stock market investing or whatever, right? I have to look at the exact phrase. And now in a video today he released, we got to focus on the collectors, right? So you were talking about during the height, August of 2020, investing stock market. And now you're saying we got to focus on collectors, unless he's genuine about it, right? I could be wrong.
Okay, look, my head is
show you the videos. I mean, you're just gonna raise your blood pressure.
You're telling me that a sports card guy was talking about the Austrian School of Economics to convince people to buy sports cards. Is that what you're trying?
No. He referenced. He's saying something different. He was saying that this one dude, Michael Saylor, used the Austrian school to buy Bitcoin. We need to have someone to influence people to buy sports cards. And one manifesto is Josh Luber's paper, the guy of Fanatics, and it's called Trading Cards Are Cool. So he's saying we need someone to influence people to buy that.
Can I ask a favor of your audience just for a moment? I want to get a little participation or something. Can I do that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I would like for someone to tell me a card that's a player, a card, whatever, that is a valuable card or a hot card right now. I don't care what it is. Just someone give me a hot card. I don't care. Anybody. Just give me some hot card. Something we can go with.
Comment section. Respond to Don's comment. And then
I want some card, some player. I don't care who it is or what card it is. I need something. Because I want to make a point. I want to prove something here.
I haven't seen any comment yet.
Otani, Frankie Edgar. Okay. We'll go with either one of these guys. Mac Jones, great well, Mac Jones is a great example. Thank you. We'll roll with Mac Jones. All right. So let's say
Fernando Tatis Jr.
any of them, whatever. But I like I kind of like Mac Jones, so we'll go with Mac Jones.
Okay.
All right. So let's say you've got a Mac Jones card, like a 1 of 10 or 1 of 100 or 1 of 1,000, whatever it is. Do you understand what the term liquid market means? You see, a lot of these people, you see these prices on cards. So let's say there's a Mac Jones card that's sold for $1,000. Well, that could literally be 4 or 5 people buying something for the last year, basically trading the same card back and forth. It does not mean the value of that card is $1,000. When you don't have a liquid market and hundreds or thousands of participants in a market, all it takes is 1 or 2 or 3 people to step back and say, we're out, and now you've got no one to sell to. So when you hear someone talk about grand terms like Austrian School of Economics, which I'm still trying to wrap my mind around, then what you have to understand, those are terms that only have anything to do with economies of scale on a global scale. And anybody in the sports card market who's hearing that talk about sports cards is an absolute lunatic if they believe this. It's not even remotely the same thing. I could change the Mac Jones market on a 1 of 10 card by me going to eBay and buying all these 1 of 10 cards up. I could do that. You can't do that with corn futures. You can't do that with pork bellies. You can't do it with orange juice. You can't even be those dudes in trading places and go in the bathroom and jip those old men in the stall and convince him that orange futures are going to tank the next morning because you get the crap report. This is ridiculous. If anyone talks about Austrian School of Economics, change the channel.
Yep, change my channel. I've discussed that.
I'm sorry, Rahul. I can't believe people believe that.
Yeah, but going back to that video, he was suggesting that there needs to be some sort of document or some sort of intellectual framework to convince people to buy sports cards. And one of the papers, it was called Trading Cards Are Cool. I think that sounds very informative. I think that will attract the high IQ billionaire, the IQ guy with the 140.
The only way that would be better is if it was Trading Cards Is Cool with IZ and a K in the letter cool. That's the only way. I mean, I'm on board if you do that.
I mean, I think Fanatics is trying to make cards cool. They're going to use their influencers. So.
Well, I've heard all I can take for one day, Rahul.
All right, man. I'll let you go now, but yeah, you should definitely come on. This sports card, I have to show you some of the things going on. It's just ridiculous.
I would pay good money. Now, here's an idea. I'll tell you a guy that needs some work right about now is Mike Norman. I would pay, y'all need to go look up Mike Norman. This guy went back and forth with Peter Schiff back with the housing crisis.
2008, 2009.
I would like to see Mike Norman. Oh, and just, you know what? Stop. Okay, please forgive me for saying this. I got to say this. If you want to know how dumb this whole sports card investing nonsense is, try to imagine Peter Schiff and Ron Paul and Mike Norman or even Jim Cramer talking about Fernando Tatis or Zion. God. Dude, I can't do it. Please don't ever invoke the Austrian School of Economics ever again with sports cards. Please don't. Please do not.
You can't talk about Murray Rothbard, Ludwig von Mises.
I'll do it. Next, you'll be talking about Bernard von Nothaus. You know who that guy is, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that dude. He went
Bernard
to jail.
Von Nothaus.
That dude went to jail.
No, he didn't go to jail.
He didn't? I
don't think he did. I think he got charged, but I don't
he got charged. Okay, so he didn't go to jail.
Yeah. Dude, I can't believe it. It was Sunday evening, and everything was going good. We were cruising into the close. 5
I
minutes
brought
left.
in the Austrian business school.
I don't think you're serious. I'm gonna have to go look that up.
I'm gonna send you that clip. Maybe you'll have a different interpretation after looking at it.
You know what I might do? I don't know, man. I might start my own channel on goofball investments, and I might do a whole season. In fact, check it out. Here's my channel. I'll have a different season for different sports, and so different investment vehicles. So this will be the season for sports cards, and I'll do some reaction videos to some of these videos. I will, dude. Give me one of these guys to go after. I'll do a video. I'll just go point by point.
I'll send you older clips, and then maybe you start.
Dude, I don't care. I don't care. I don't have a job. I'm basically homeless. I'm just some old toothless redneck. I got nothing to lose, dude.
There you go, dude. Your channel would blow up.
By the way, Bob Boozle, sports cards. No, Bob, not sports cards are cool. Sports cards is cool.
All right, man. You got to start a channel. I'll send you some of these videos. It's hilarious.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But you look good. You really do look good. You really do look good.
Thanks, man. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. I didn't expect this to end on this note, but it's always interesting when Don's on.
Dude, hold on. I want to show you something. Hold on.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah, we're still live. So we're still live.
Hold on. Don't go anywhere.
I wonder what he's going to show. Yeah, I think his blood pressure was rising. Oh, man. Maybe I'll read some. Let me read some comments before he gets that stuff. Peter Schiff for president. This guy is bang on 100%. So easy to manipulate prices in the hobby. Hence, we're seeing such a big market dip. Yeah, when the volume dries up, yeah, prices collapse. This is what Chad mentioned last week. All right, let's look at some other comments.
Well, I can't. I'll tell you what. If I'm on next,
I'm gonna send him.
Yeah.
The great
there's a book I was looking for that I've got that I wanted to show you that you'd find hilarious, but I can't find it. So whatever.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely going to send you some videos after this. And it's going to be quite interesting. You should start your YouTube channel on this, I'll send them your way and then you could just analyze.
Well, I got enough death threats on my silver videos. Maybe I need to, get a couple more of those with some sports cards, guys.
I mean, no one has sent me threats yet. I just a negative Nancy, basically. That's all.
All right. Well, again, I think you're doing a good job, and I'm glad you're out there doing what you're doing. There needs to be someone doing what you're doing, and I'll admit, I'm not going to keep you much longer here. I'm shocked at the things you share with me because you share with me.
This is just a fraction.
Well, let's have fun.
Yeah, this is interesting. You should look at how crazy things are. I wouldn't have expected like this.
Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.